All right, friends. Happy Sunday, fun day to you. The 20th of October, 2019. Not the easiest of days. We have this kite formation. I'll just show you right here what we're looking at. Kite formation coming up. Oop, that's the 19th still. There we go. The moon conjuncts the north node, okay? In the morning time, it's going to be opposing Saturn and opposing Pluto, all right? Now, this comes with a challenge, but there's a glory to it, okay? So when we see the moon opposing Saturn, and the fun thing here is, look, the moon's home in the sign of Cancer, and Saturn is home in the sign of Capricorn. All right. So any time we see a transit with Saturn here, Saturn kind of always wins. All right. Saturn is the tough guy in the zodiac, the brick wall. You're going to see, a real tension between Saturn and Pluto, because Pluto is all about transformation. Saturn is about setting the bar and the limit. So when we see Saturn and Pluto come together, this is, that's going to happen in January of 2020. This is like really we're changing the whole wall. And that's not what Saturn likes to do. When we see a transit of Saturn and Uranus, this is the unstoppable force. This is the breakthrough. So what happens when you have the wrecking ball, an unstoppable force, and a wall that cannot be moved? There's a lot of tension in those, and we had seen that a couple years back, and it brought up a lot of tension in humanity. Reflection of like the 1967 kind of riots. And you see Saturn and Neptune, these big guys, these big heavy hitters out here, these outer planets, and that sextile that's been happening a good chunk of the year. Again, Saturn kind of always wins, as it's the limit of reality, the limit of this third dimension. And this is about expanding our dreams and expanding, the ideas and concepts and things bigger than ourselves and bigger than this world. And we're being presented with a lot of new, spiritual enlightenment, okay? And we're making that a very real part of our third dimension. We're seeing a lot more, yoga and meditation and sacred medicines coming up. These indigenous, these old practices being brought in to bring people back to a heightened awareness of this reality. Okay, so Saturn is always forming. That's Saturn's job, is to help form and create. When things get too inflated, like over here, this Leo energy or this Sagittarian energy, when things get too inflated, Saturn puts it in check and deflates. And the moon can be very emotional down here in Cancer, very emotional, connected with the North Node. All right, because this is reminding us to be emotional, and the moon is like, oh, I'm home here. This here in my emotions, in my comfort blanket, is my happy place. And we can feel very lonely, here with this kind of an aspect. We can feel very separate and cut off from the world. It's us and our emotions, and we're escaping this reality. It's like reality's over here. These, let me come back here. We're kind of pushing things away from us. Reality's over there. These hard times are over here. The pain is over there. The frustration, the hard work is over there. So I'm going to stay here, in my little comfort zone. And this energy, there's two sides to that. They're saying, yes, take time for yourself, take time to nourish yourself, but also try not to escape. Try not to escape these emotions or these things, especially with the use of over-consuming, especially foods and alcohols, drugs, things like that. We can go into our own little hibernation place and escape the world, and we don't want to do that. Again, there's a lot of social things happening. Sun and Mars still in Libra. The moon is going to be squaring Mars today on Sunday. And then further going to square in the morning time on Monday morning, square the sun before, it gets the boost of that Leo energy. to get this fire back up and going. Like, yeah, I can do it. So that's coming later on Monday, halfway through the workday, which is going to be exciting. Like, because we can feel kind of drained over the next 2 days. Again, feeling very separate. That our emotions, that our feelings, that are not of this physical world, and that these physical beings, these other human beings, these other people, don't understand our emotional body. And with Mercury in Scorpio, it's hard to express that kind of stuff. It's hard to express what's really going on deep down inside, which adds further to our kind of hermit behavior. All right. But like I said, there's a reward to everything. Okay. Because as you see here, this quintile, this kind of creative energy, again, absolutely spend time nurturing oneself. But as well, we have to be sociable. This is harvest season. This moon squaring Mars. The opposition to Saturn. Saturn's up here saying we got to be disciplined and do this work. And Mars is saying, yeah, we have to get together. We have to, we have to tend to the garden. We live in a time that we are so fortunate that not everyone is a freaking farmer. Not everyone has to fight for their food and how they're getting their food every day. It's a simple, going to the grocery store. And we're losing, a sense of humanity with that. And that leads to its own weird problems. Either way, where we can conveniently, like how weird is it? You can want to be so closed off. You can either order food and just have it delivered to your house, or you can drive through some place and have someone pass you food through a hole in a wall. Like when you break down the mental math of how strange a drive-through is. I don't want to get out. I don't want to socialize. I don't want to be around people. I'd rather you cut a hole in the side of your building and pass me food through that so I don't have to interact with other human beings. Well, we're entering the age of Aquarius, where community is extremely important. And whatever is coming our way, this big Saturn and Pluto conjunction happening, January 12th, 13th, in 2020, this is going to, part of the break that leads to us saying like, oh yeah, we really have to get over our own selfish tendencies of wanting to like, I need to hide. I need to stay inside my little comfort blanket. I need to stay in my own little space. It's like people are relying on you, and we can create a comfort space together. We can create a comfort space for other people. We can create a community space that is comfortable for all of us, because mentally, emotionally, we need other people more than we need isolation and solitude. That is the truth. That is the tension between this square happening between Mars and the moon and the North Node. That is the tension happening between Saturn, saying get out there and get the work done. This isn't a time to be a recluse and just hide out by yourself under the blankets and, and read scary stories to tell in the dark, whatever. Great book. Again, absolutely imperative to take time for self, but it's also imperative, to get out there and be a part of the community, be a part of humanity. And if, sometimes if it's just like, hey, ask a friend to come over and help you, sweep up, clean up the house or do something, sometimes that's something else we can, this transformative thinking. Coming back to the chart, there is this, transformative ways of doing things. So maybe, it's like, look, you're just sitting at home reading a book on a Sunday and, your other friend's doing laundry, cleaning up around the house. So just bring your book over your friend's house or invite your friend over. This can be, we can change the way that we operate on these kind of days. Which is beautiful, like this emotional transformation, again, putting this emotion into action. And that's what these two want to do up here. We want to change how we're dealing with this. How do we, here it is. How many ever minutes we're into this. How do we change our loneliness? That's a feeling. How do we put that into an action where it's a solvable solution? Being around community is one, not being a broken record, not simply just communicating only the things that are hurting us, and only the things that are hurting us, you know, being that broken record, that Dr. Joe Dispenza stuff. You know, it's the more we talk about it, we keep reactivating the thought and reactivating the feeling and reactivating the thought. And then you bring in the law of attraction. That's the more we get and the more we get. So it's like being around other people and applying our skills and giving our medicine, our talents to other people, you know, we're able to kind of pull ourselves out of the funk. We're able to transform that loneliness by being there for other people, by being a part of a community, by creating that community if we're not, you know. So there's the reward, again, is that transformative. There's a way we can think about this differently, again, you know. Maybe it's sitting in a library. Maybe you don't even know the person next to you, but instead of being alone by yourself reading that book, you're in public doing something, you know. And again, apply that to however it makes sense to you. Those are just the analogies that are coming through to me. So, but you get it. We're going to be tried the next day and a half with this feeling of, you know, isolation. I'm not strong enough or good enough to get through certain things. Like, I like this and I like other people, but I don't feel that those other people like me just the same. You know, why do I keep reaching out to these people or whomever, you know? And maybe everybody's feeling that way, you know. So it's, I don't know. Yeah. You get it. So reach out as well, you know, and just letting somebody know you miss them. You know, that little thing I kind of talked about a couple of days ago, that's really been resonating, and it's just like coming back again to not just the emotion action, but the reciprocation. That feminine energy as well right now is very, very important with all this water energy, where I'm wearing blue. You know, to be just receptive on the emotional, you know, the emotional standpoint as well. To give back the yes, I miss you. Not just let's get together, you know, not just the emotion in action, but to reciprocate, to sit in that emotion, and yes, to empathize and compassionately, you know, receive that and to like share that with one another. I share and I receive this feeling. Now we can create with it. Now that we've received and feel, now we can, you know, take it to the next part. Next step in action. All right. So happy Sunday, fun day. And again, that's energy that's kind of going on from Saturday night into Sunday. All right. There's oppositions, the squares, and then on Monday morning, it's going to be squaring the sun. So similar energy before we move into Leo. All right. Where we're getting that big boost on Monday. But until then, you know, feel all this stuff. It's a good thing to feel all this emotional energy. So don't hide from it. Don't hide from yourself right now. You know, don't hide from your own secrets or your own, you know, illusions, delusions, lying to ourselves about our own things. It's like, now bring this stuff up to the surface. Be honest, you know, and then we can work through it at the same time. We can work through it together with the community. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.